So thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. I'm Max Finlay from Escon Solutions, and I'm going to be joined by Catherine from Iplicit, who will be doing all the hard work this morning. Just so you know, the session is going to be recorded so that anyone who can't join us live will be able to view it at a later date. So hopefully that will be okay. So for those of you who haven't joined these sessions before, I mean, this is probably our fifth one I think we've had on Iplicit. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Iplicit, Iplicit is the sort of the rising star of financial management systems in the mid-market. And Escon became partners of Iplicit about 18 months ago. We've had some really great success in promoting the product, and we're now in our umpteenth implementation of the product as well. And we're looking to be completely self-sufficient. We're looking to sell the product, market and sell the product and implement it as well. And we're now on, I think, our 7th or 8th implementation. So the product itself attracted us. It's a cloud-based application. For those of you that are on maybe open accounts or other legacy products that will never be cloud-based, then this is the reason that we chose Iplicit, was to give customers a cloud-based alternative. But it's not just the product. The company Iplicit is just a great company to work with, and I'm not just saying this because Catherine's on the call. Compared to other companies that we have partnered with in the past, great company to work with, very, very helpful to not just to us but also to our customers. But also just very proactive in their development of the product and the development of the partnership itself. So, anybody who hasn't seen their website, I would certainly, stress the importance of maybe having a look at that. There's some great case studies on the website as well, and there's some details on our own Escon website as well. So, but the last few webinars we've been looking at sort of processes and areas within the financial systems that can be improved by the implementation of Iplicit. Today's session, we're going to look at two specific modules. We're going to look at the project ledger and the fixed assets, and just kind of have a bit of a deeper dive into those. Many organizations will have the need for a project ledger where you're wanting to analyze the costs and the revenue to a project. Now, those projects don't necessarily need to be a traditional project. These projects or jobs could be a vehicle, could be a marketing campaign, it could be a person. If you wanted anything that you wanted to kind of maintain the detailed analysis of cost and revenue without necessarily cluttering up your general ledger. That being said, Iplicit and the way that the general ledger coding structure works, it's done via what's called dimensions, and it is possible to analyze costs using these dimensions to other things such as projects, and Catherine will maybe touch on that this morning. But there are distinct advantages to the project ledger, particularly if you're wanting to time write or create timesheets for against a project. And again, we're going to have a deeper dive into that in a few minutes. The fixed asset register, I mean, maybe some of those on the call today will be keeping their fixed assets on a spreadsheet, manually calculating the depreciation and posting a journal, which I think we do find is quite common, particularly if you don't have a lot of fixed assets. But I think with Iplicit, you can keep your assets on the system, and with that you get the visibility, automatic calculation of depreciation, and be able to report on them at any time. So you get that sort of much more visual approach to your assets, and there's also links between the purchase ledger and the fixed asset register to allow you to capitalize transactions. But also there is links to the project ledger as well. But I don't want to steal Catherine's thunder, so we'll kind of cover that as we go through this morning as well. As with the other webinars we've held, we really are just tickling the surface of Iplicit, just to hopefully give you an idea of the the power that it offers. And we're always very, very keen and happy to have a further session with anyone who's interested to not just go into more detail on the subject matter today, but the whole product as well. It's really a fantastic product, and really keen to spread the gospel. So I will pass over to Catherine. Time allowing, we'll have some we'll kind of cater for some questions at the end. So anybody that's got a question as we go through, please type it into the text box at the top, and we can cover that at the end. If we don't have time, then we can pick that up afterwards and kind of send out the responses to everyone on this webinar. So I'll be quiet for a change, and I'll pass over to Catherine, and hopefully you'll enjoy the session. Catherine, over to you.
Thank you so much, Max. Thank you very much. So welcome everybody. As Max said, I am Catherine Thompson and I work directly for Iplicit, and I will be running through those features that Max has mentioned. So here, hopefully you can see my screen. This is my version of Iplicit that I've logged into, and as Max said, this is in the cloud. So super important for your projects, because it means that project managers can access their project reports from wherever they are, and if they are on site and need to raise a purchase order for a project, they can do that either from their laptop using Wi-Fi or from the mobile phone app that we've got as well. And also it means that we can approve purchase orders on the mobile phone app, so you can keep that project moving without any kind of delays from the finance process. So I'll just show you then. First of all, Max mentioned the choice of accounts rules and the attributes that we can have within Iplicit. So I'll show you that. And this is about that tracking categories, about the dimensions. So you see here I've got a column with rules against each of my nominals, and those rules are letting me know what it is that I want to be tracking against my particular nominals. So here I've got a rule against 3 nominal accounts. That says that every time that I am posting a transaction, be it a purchase transaction, sales, a journal, to any one of those nominals, it's going to ask me to state the cost center, the department, what's the project for this particular transaction. And then as well, you can have additional tracking fields or attributes. So in this instance, I've got income type, but it might be that I want to use an analysis code or an activity. You see here, I've got lots of different funds, fund types, products, product families, lots of different things that we can be tracking against. And you can customize those as well. So every time, all your projects will have not just the cost of the project, but which cost center that relates to, etc. And with the projects themselves, you'll see here I've got this project button, and I'm just going to click into there. So as Mike said, with the projects themselves, it doesn't have to be a customer project. It could be an internal project. It could be a project that you need to be charging back to a customer, but it could also be something where you're just tracking a cost. So perhaps an event, maybe a fundraising project, or the digital transformation project. You see here then we've got those different groups, and we can also have parent-child relationships within those projects as well. And it's really handy. We've got a document management system within here as well, so you can attach any documents, any reports, invoices, emails that you need to be tracking against a particular project. You can hold them. And for every project, you can have a project manager, which might want to be used in a workflow approval process. So your project manager has visibility of every transaction that is going to hit the project before it actually goes through to the GL. We can assign people to projects, which is particularly important for timesheets, which I'll get onto. But what's great about this is you've then got a P&L against that project. So every project has its own mini P&L, and this can be a multi-year. So especially again, if you were running a yearly event, you can see how that has what's the word that I'm looking for here, improved, or how that has generated profit over the financial years. Okay. And what's really nice about these P&L reports, if you haven't seen Iplicit before, is that we have drill down functionality. So in all of these reports, if I click on any of these values, it's going to show me the underlying transactions that make up that particular cost or income, which just makes it then really easy for you to do any analysis. Maybe you want to actually drill down and see that underlying purchase invoice. You can get to that from there. What we can also do is to bring in those attributes. So you might not want to be reporting just on the financial year and the nominals. You might also want to be bringing in things like the cost center. So here I've got my cost center in this kind of a pivot table that we've got in Iplicit, and I can pick up that cost center then and pull that into this pivot table. So then I'll be able to drill down and see my transactions against my individual cost centers for that project as well. It doesn't have to just be the cost center. It could be you want to report on that department, the income type, so you can see where the income has come from. Lots of different things that you can then pull into this pivot table to slice and dice that in different ways. So here I've got it for all of my different cost centers, and then I can also pull in a department on top of that as well. Okay. So you can really drill down into these. Okay. Now I mentioned timesheets. So timesheets are available to use within the project module. Of course, you don't have to use them, but they are there, which is really useful for you to be tracking what time has been spent against the project. So you see here, I've got 2 employees that are booking time against this particular project. And I can see a costed TB for that as well. So I can see how much those timesheets cost against the project. So really useful there. Okay. So that's the reporting aspect, and maybe we'll have a look at creating some transactions around that as well. So for the timesheets themselves, you can have what we call timesheets products, and this is your different rates for your different people or groups of people, maybe a role. So you see here I've got different chargeable time rates, and within every rate I can give it some pricing. So for this customer, we're going to charge X amount for a particular person. We might charge something different, and how much is going to hit in that costing as well on the project. So you can have your different rates within the system, and then your employees can raise their timesheets in the system themselves. So perhaps at the minute you've got a system where they're filling in an Excel sheet and then emailing that across for the finance team to then journal in. Instead of doing that process, you will be able to keep it directly within Iplicit. So they can come into my timesheets and create their weekly timesheet from there. So you see here, I'm just going to say I was maybe the other week and click apply. And this is where then I can start to add my hours. So I'll use that standard time and the project that I was working on. Click apply, and then I can give it my hours that I worked on during that week for this particular project. And I can add notes here or attachments if I want to as well. Maybe you want to have a couple of different lines, maybe some different rates. You will be able to fill that in as well to complete that weekly timesheet. Hit the submit button, and this then can go through a workflow approval. So Iplicit has got workflow approvals across the system. Here I'm showing it you as a timesheet entry, but we can also have approvals around the purchasing side, purchase orders, purchase invoices, also sales invoices. We can have approvals as well on things like your VAT returns or your bank reconciliations. Maybe you want an approval process when a supplier's bank details are amended. So lots of different areas of Iplicit that you can have that workflow approval integrated into the system. And that then just allows a log. So here every transaction will have a log telling me who's approved those transactions. And what's really good about that is you can tailor that workflow for yourselves. So what's the organization's needs? And it might be a layered approach. So in terms of a purchase order, it's going to go to the budget holder. But then because it's over a certain value, it also needs to go to a director. And you can build that up as you need to. So here I can then say I'm going to mark these lines as approved. I'll confirm that. And that then can now will now show within that project. So I don't know if you spotted, but this particular project actually has a customer name against it. So now that we've got that time allocated against the project, we can actually invoice it out to our customer. And to do that, I'll go to my sales. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just show you the mobile app, because it might be that you've got a project that you want to charge back not only time but also expenses. So I can show you that. I'm just going to find my phone. So we've got a mobile app that you can do your expenses on. And I'll show you that here. Let me try and make that a little bit big for you. There we go. So when you're doing your expenses against a project, your staff will be able to come into the mobile app, which is available on Android and iOS, and they can actually scan receipts just to save some time. And that could be to take a photo directly from the phone or choose one from the file. Okay. And the app is actually going to scan that receipt for them. So here I've got a taxi receipt, and you can see it's a handwritten note, but actually the system is going to scan that for me to create my transaction. Just give that a second to run through. Obviously, with it being handwritten, it takes a little second longer. It's going to analyze that information for me and then create the transaction. So super useful for people that are out and about on the go. It's going to do it this time. Doesn't normally take so long. This is typical. I tested it before we started and it was done in seconds. No. I'm really tempted to just keep it going because I think it's about there, but let me just cancel that. Oh, I'm going to try it one more time because it definitely did it before. But anyway, what's also great about the mobile app is that you can book your mileage in there. So super useful for people on projects, might be traveling around needing to claim mileage. Within the app for expenses, you can actually populate a route planner and it's going to calculate your mileage for you and add that in. Okay. Oh, I am going to give up this time. But it did do it earlier. Sorry about that. Let me add another line here. Okay. Oh, technical difficulties. Now my phone is frozen. Okay, I'm going to leave the mobile app for now. Once you've got your approved expenses done on the app, and which can be done in the browser as well. You can have an approval process on that, and approvals can be done on the mobile app as well. So that's really useful, let's say, for project managers who might be out and about on site. So what I'll do is I will go back to create that sales invoice now from the timesheets. So if you wanted to be charging back your expenses, as well as disbursements, as well as the time, we can do what we call a project timesheet with disbursements. So you see here, I'm going to build that invoice to my customer. In selecting my project, it is going to bring through the customer that is associated with it. And then I'm going to click this Import Timesheets button. And you see now that has brought through those hours that we just created. So we can charge that back at the price designated for my project to the customer there for the timesheets that I've created. So a really fast way of getting timesheet invoices done. We could also add in your disbursements. So I'm going to edit this now, and I can click this disbursement button. And then any expenses that I've booked against the particular project, I can then add in, apply that, and now can charge the customer back for that mileage that I've done. Maybe I want to populate a postcode in here as well, I could do that. And that's how we can raise the timesheets invoices for your particular projects. You could also do this in a different way. So you could just click this generate sales invoices from timesheets, and that's going to run it across all of your different projects for any timesheets that have been added. And so now that's actually just created me 3 timesheets here, timesheet invoices across different projects. So it's really fast way of being able to get those invoices raised. Okay. Lovely. So I think that's about everything that I was going to talk to you about projects. But of course, there's that Q&A button on the chat. If you've got any questions around projects, then please do pop those in. So the next thing that we're going to talk about today was fixed assets. So with the assets in Iplicit, I'm just going to close that. It obviously just helps you, as Mike said, get away from having spreadsheets for all of your assets. And spreadsheets, obviously, they can be written over. You can accidentally mistype a formula, maybe not hold as much information as you like in that spreadsheet. So having your assets within a system like Iplicit makes it a lot cleaner and easier to handle. Plus we can automate your depreciation as well. So that's one less journal to be posting every month. So here I've got my asset list, my asset register, and you'll see I've got different asset groups with my assets underneath. But also you can have these custom fields in here, which is basically saying every time that I am creating an asset within my group computer equipment, it's going to be an extra field to ask me what's the operating system for it. Has the PAT test been done? And really just to show you here, that could be custom fields, could be tick boxes, it can be dates and times, stamps, or free text. So if there's anything unique that you want to be tracking against your assets, we can handle that for you. And underneath every within every group, you've got all your individual assets, and you can see here, I can see my purchase date, my depreciated net book value, etc. But how this is better than your spreadsheet is that it's actually all coming from a record, and you can capture more information easily within this record. So this particular laptop, I can see when it was purchased, who the supplier it was purchased from. I can see my depreciation method, and we've got lots of different depreciation methods that you can use within Iplicit, reducing balance, straight line over a number of different years. You can choose if you want to depreciate that monthly or annually, and we can track information such as serial numbers and asset tags within each assets register. And then we've got as well a link through to that purchase invoice that it was purchased from. So super useful at year end when your auditors are asking you about your additions. So I've just quickly clicked through to this purchase transaction, and then I can see and download a copy of that invoice for the auditors. Another nice thing that we can do is assign it to a particular person. So we've all gone through that painful process of checking that the assets are still in existence and not knowing who to ask. So that's really nice to be able to assign it to somebody. And maybe you want to post your depreciation to different cost centres and departments. So you can do that within here as well. And here is those custom fields that we looked at. And of course, we've got our depreciated amount and our net book value in here, plus any extraordinary depreciation that we can book. And that is being calculated via our depreciation book as well. So you can see I've got a forecast of how that depreciation is going to hit the expense count over the life of the asset. And within the detail tab here, my depreciation has been automatically booked in the background. So these document numbers are manual journals. Again, I can drill down into that to see how that depreciation journal was posted. But it's importantly, that's going to be processed in the background on a schedule when you set it up to run. So every month you don't have to create that depreciation journal. We do, of course, have other reports within here, so you can look at a depreciation schedule, so you can view this over a number of years. You can see exactly how much was charged every month. You can look at this via asset group or every single transaction that has been posted. So we've got some nice reports in there, and one as well that will show you your brought forward balances, again for that statutory reporting. The last thing I think I'll talk to you about today is our asset capitalisation rules. So this is a really nice feature to stop you from having to dig around in your nominals trying to figure out if anything has accidentally been posted to an expense count that should have been capitalised, or perhaps you're trying to figure out what was new in the month in your cost accounts. Because what I've got here is asset capitalisation rules, whereby I can say to the system, the organisation's policy is that any computer equipment that is over £1,000 should be capitalised. So what I've done is I've set that as a rule within Iplicit, and now anytime that an invoice line is transacted against that nominal over £1,000, it's going to come into this asset capitalisation area for somebody in the finance team to review. So now I've got 3 purchase invoices, and I can take a look at those and say, yep, actually, I remember this, it was a server, it should be capitalised, and we can quickly do that from this screen. So I'm going to capitalise this asset. I can tell it when to start depreciating from, and also it will automatically create a journal to pull it out of that expense count down into my balance sheet. So it's just a really useful tool and saves you a bit of manual digging around in your nominal codes. Okay. So I think that was everything that I had to run through today. So I'll hand back to you, Max.
Thanks very much, Catherine. Yeah, hopefully that was useful and interesting to those of you who are on the call. We've no questions come through, but there was one that came through earlier on, Catherine, relating to the asset register, particularly when you're implementing the asset register system or the module. Can you import existing assets in from a spreadsheet along with net book values and original costs, etc.?
Yes, absolutely. We don't want you to have to type all of those hundreds of assets that are in existence up into Iplicit, or have to continue using your spreadsheet until they hit NBV 0. So we do have an import process whereby you can bring in all of your existing assets.
Okay, perfect, ideal. Okay, we would just have one quick question from Wendy. So Wendy has asked the invoice, just for clarity, the invoice is only entered once. I think this is the invoice that's being capitalized. And could you demonstrate the report produced?
Okay, so the invoice being the capitalization of an invoice. Okay, so yes, thank you for the question. With the purchase invoices, as I said, we've got the asset rules. Let me show you that. And so I've got a rule that says anything that is posted to nominal 7552 that's over actually £750 will go into that capitalisation area for review. So you're not having to transact that invoice twice. You'll just do it the once. So I'll quickly just demonstrate that. Just grab a invoice here, 7552. Just leave all of that blank for now, and I'm going to put this in as £1,005. I'll submit that, and I'll have to approve it as well. And then that is going to come through to that asset capitalisation area. So here it is, that one that was £1,005. So as soon as that hits the general ledger, it's going to trigger that rule and bring it through to this area. So then I can say, yes, I want to capitalise it, and I can fill in any description or anything that I want to do that. I can maybe change the purchase date when I want it to start depreciating, add any other information, hit the submit button, and now that has left this area, so it's cleared down from that area, and it will be within my asset register. So if I swipe this, it's that one there. So now it's there. The invoice that we just created is now capitalized, and I can link back to that originating transaction, and it's going to auto post the depreciation there. And there was there another part to that question?
Wendy's asked to demonstrate the report produced.
Okay. So there's a report then that would be able to show it within the capitalization area. So we've got lots of analytics, lots of reports. So we've got PDF reports, we've got reports that you can drill down into, and then we've also got like dashboards as well. I've got different reports here showing asset movements, GL reconciliations as well. So just to give you an example here, this is the one that's going to show me my depreciation brought forward, opening net book values, depreciation within the year, and lots of things. So that asset is now within there. Okay, hopefully that answers the question.
Right, Wendy's just added a little bit of clarification. The fixed asset register rather than the individual invoice, something to export for board papers. So presumably, is there a kind of standard report, maybe summarizing the assets by asset group? You know, similar to what you maybe put into your stats. Yes, your stats.
Yeah. So that's one of the great things with Iplicit's reporting is that you can kind of using that slice and dice functionality, you can present that in how you want. So here I've got a list of my assets and the movement within the year. And it might be you want to group that up. So now I've got the total for my different groups. It might be that you want to add in an additional column. So if I want to bring through my useful life, I could bring that through. It might be that I want to remove some of these columns or maybe move these around. So you kind of get to choose what this asset register, this depreciation file looks like. Okay, I hope that answered your question.
Hopefully that helps, Wendy. I mean, just going back to the sort of auto capitalization, for those of you on open accounts, it's very similar to the unregistered asset facility, but just goes a fair bit kind of more kind of further than that, but be able to hold a financial value or a financial limit, etc. Just makes it so much easier and much more user friendly. But hopefully you'll see similarities to certainly to the unregistered asset facility. Okay, we've no other questions so far, so we'll give you all some time back to your day. But just like to thank you very much for attending. I'd like to thank Catherine very much for taking you through the two modules. As I said at the start, it's just a little quick view on the modules. If anybody would like a closer look at those or anything else within Iplicit, then please contact us. We're more than happy to set up a session. We do have another session booked for the 21st of January when we're going to look at reporting in a bit of detail. Reporting is very, very powerful within Iplicit, and we're looking at how it can revolutionize your month end and the month end for finance teams. So hopefully that will be of interest, and we'll be sending out some information about that nearer the time. So no other questions. A few thank yous. So thank you, Catherine, and
thank you.
Everyone have a good day and a good Christmas when it comes. Okay, but thank you very much for your time, and we'll catch you on the 21st of January. Thanks again.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks now. Bye-bye.
Bye.